Welcome to Utah Bankruptcy Questions and Answers. This is a video series where we answer questions about filing bankruptcy in Layton, Utah. I'm attorney Amy Butters, and I hope you find this information very helpful and informative.
All right, welcome to video 10. Will bankruptcy wipe out all of my debts? Now let's first talk about a legal term called discharge, and that's what you're really talking about when you ask the question of will my debts be wiped out, is will they be discharged? And what that legal word means is that the obligation that you have legally to repay that debt is wiped away. Okay? The debt's still there. There's still somebody there who's owed money, so it doesn't really actually get rid of the debt. It takes away the legal obligation that you have to pay it. Okay, so the short answer is yeah, it does, with some exceptions. Let's talk about some of those exceptions. Bankruptcy is not going to eliminate back child support. Okay, so if you're in that situation, and I'm not calling you a deadbeat, but if you do have some back child support, you can't bankrupt on it. Okay, same with alimony. Those are protected things, and rightfully so. Most taxes and some debts that you've incurred to pay those taxes that were non-dischargeable, you can't bankrupt on those. There are a few exceptions. Talk to a lawyer that knows the rules when it comes to that, because some taxes can be bankrupted on. Student loans are another form of protected debt that you cannot bankrupt on unless you're able to prove to the court that you have some undue hardship. I can't think of an example. Maybe tremendous medical debt, something, it's something that you would really have to make an argument to the court, because otherwise they're protected. Debts that are not listed in your bankruptcy, and I need to clarify this because there is a little bit of ambiguity and difference here. If you intentionally leave something out, it's not discharged, okay? On the other hand, if you make every reasonable effort to contact a creditor, let's say they don't report to the credit bureaus and you're trying and you make efforts to, and then you just can't, and they never do get notification, and then 5 years down the road they come back and go, hey, nobody told me you filed bankruptcy, I still want my debt paid. Well, at that point you can say, hey, you know what, look, here's the letters we sent out, we tried to contact you, here's a discharge from the court, I no longer legally am obligated to pay that debt. And that, one thing that you need to remember too is that circumstance is applicable when you didn't have any assets in your case. If you filed a Chapter 7 and there was nothing to give anybody, well then they're crying that they got none of nothing, right? So at that point they're going to be discharged. On the other hand, if it was an asset case, you had some Mona Lisa or original copy of the Declaration in your basement and they were able to sell that, well, then they have a claim. They could come back and say, hey, I wasn't paid and I should have been included with what everybody got out of that asset case. Fines and penalties that are owed to government agencies, can't bankrupt on those. Loans that you received knowingly giving false information to a creditor who reasonably relied on it as a reason to approve the loan. In plain English, you committed fraud. Okay? You can't bankrupt on debts where the creditor has proven that you committed fraud. Debts resulting from willful and malicious harm. If you receive a civil lawsuit because you beat up some guy and he has all these medical bills and he wins a judgment against you, you can't go bankrupt on that. Okay? It was willful, it was malicious, and you can't get out of paying that. Debts incurred while driving intoxicated. If you get a DUI and you've caused damage and you get sued and lose, that's not something you can go bankrupt on. Mortgages and other liens that are not paid in the bankruptcy case. Again, remember, it's important to understand you're getting rid of the obligation to pay, but not the debt itself. So don't think that they don't have a right to come foreclose on the house if you end up in a bankruptcy and don't pay them. Now, if you enjoyed this video, but you feel like you still have some unanswered questions, don't worry, we've got you covered. We've actually created an entire video series that answers all the commonly asked questions about bankruptcy in Utah. Go ahead on over to our website, LaytonBankruptcyLawyers.com, and there you'll be able to download our free ebook, and you'll be directed to our main website, where the entire video series is located.